Hi, Emily. It's 1:50 a.m. on the 24th November 2011. The video monologue, and I will show the scars that I'm going to be talking about, but I want to set it up to let you know that here I am, being 52. I was born in Humboldt Park. I'm going to be talking to a 20-year-old named Kara, a waitress at a uh, diner on Lincoln Avenue in Chicago. She lives in that area. I grew up in the Division Street neighborhood in 1959. Things were different back then. So unfortunately, because of the constraints of my webcam, I would show you first that I would mention a straight scar here. I had two bones broken and that came out of the side. So on the inner side of my arm, you would have this keloid scar that you can actually press in and then get to a point where there's part of a hip, and then there's another scar here, a triangular scar. So just keep all of those in mind. And here would be my monologue. All right, Kara, you gotta see something here. There's, you know the scars from the accident in 1989. It was 2 years before you were born. But there's something else. This is a different world now. I was of the last generation of the strap. My dad would beat the hell out of me knowing to put the buckle in the right place. Um, there was no DCFS back then. Kids, could get slapped around by uncles and aunts and mothers and fathers. And that's just the way things were back then. I mean, you look shocked. I know you don't, but the truth is, we were all well. That's just the way it was. You've seen the scars I've mentioned, and if you take a look at, like, here, I was stabbed mildly, just a stab when I got mugged back in 1979. You can barely see that scar right now. Now the other one I showed you, that triangular one on my left arm, that's the one. Oh, hold on, let me drink some water here. That's the one where, well, it's like this. My dad was a cop. So he was on duty in 1962, 63 is when this happened. I was always sick. My doctors knew that it was like a muscle disease. I wouldn't know until I was maybe 3 that it was specifically cerebral palsy. Gives you an idea of how different, uh, I mean, just 50 years ago, how different it was. Maybe for us in a poorer neighborhood, I can't really say the hospital itself, Lutheran Deaconess, is no longer there. Um, but here we are on Crystal Street, living off of Division and California. The street itself, right across the street, you can look out the window. We had a shotgun apartment, 3 flat, and there's a living room with the Philco TV, a blonde cover Philco and colored Philco, excuse me. And my mom, one of her friends, would be sitting there drinking vodka. They had a couch sitting in front of it. And, then past the bathroom in the hallway, past the kitchen, was a small room in back where I had a bed. I had to drink pet milk several times a day. It was like a condensed form of powdered milk that was supposed to strengthen my bones or something. And then there's one specific time where I had been sick. We had this crazy thing where there was a Polish doctor, Dr. Wolf, would make house calls and ask things and give out things, and pretty much, he'd get paid, a dime. No, no, not really. A dollar, $10, whatever. And sometimes even just flat out be let out. Like my dad, part time, was a bouncer at Manya's Lucky Stop near Hermitage Avenue, and then Wolf, could get in there by just saying, "Hey, I'm the guy who took care of your kid." So, I consistently get these times where I'd be coughing, and it wouldn't go away. So, there's Dr. Wolf saying, "Hey, Dolores, why don't you go ahead and take a pot of steam, pot of boiling water, get that steam." I mean, that's the way it was put first. Pot of steam, pot of boiling water, and get that steam right into your kid's lungs. He'll be better right away. Well, she took that pot of boiling water. My dad now, of course, working the night shift at the Monroe Street District, and you can you can see where this is going. She's in the other room, drinking away, smoking back then, or at least her friend, one of my aunts, was smoking, and everybody on the block, they all knew each other. My dad's sister from Kentucky was across the street. My mom's younger sister was down the block. Further down the block was somebody's grandmother, and everything. It was like everybody jammed together and all that. So who knows who in the family could have been there at that point. It could have even been the crazy landlord. Who knows? Everybody just hung out at that time while some kid was in the back room with a pot of boiling water right next to what amounted to a cot. So, there I am, plot. Of course, that's what's going to happen. I mean, what the hell? I shriek, I scream. I don't remember the moment at all. I just remember the fact that it felt as if my arm right here was just glued to something. I could not move it. It was probably just, a 4-year-old not being able to, react to the circumstances the right way. I could have been, as far as I remember, I could have thought I was dreaming and woke up and still, it made it worse by moving the arm, going back and forth like that, and moving the arm and making it worse. It did not go into the water, so I was fine that way. Yeah, you go and you can touch it. That's fine. I mean, I feel nothing. I feel nothing from it anymore, and it's there in between the two other gashes, and more people notice that, where that was just like a random thing. People driving cars are stupid and self-conscious, not self-conscious at all. Nowadays, even with cell phones, it's all worse. But I'm talking about a time where you leave a kid unsupervised while he's sitting there or laying there in a cot with with a pot of boiling water, not a bowl, a pot of boiling water at the edge of the bed. It doesn't take much to move the arm. I mean, we're talking like maybe that much space. There's the bed. Right there is the boiling water. I mean, it's a bed, boiling water, arm, like that. I'm screaming away. It took them a few minutes, or at least a few seconds, to get back. They were just assuming I was screaming because, kids scream, blah, 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 like that. And nothing came of it. Taken to the hospital, not even taken to the hospital, matter of fact. They called Dr. Wolf. Dr. Wolf came over, They're from Lutheran Deaconess, of course. Wrapped up the arm, put some kind of iodine ointment on it, said I'll be back in a week. And they did, and unpeeled it, and some skin came off with it because of this ointment that he had on. It was like a glue, so as he unwrapped uh, the thing, I went ahead and screamed, and my mother yelled, and my dad hit me, saying I shouldn't be screaming, I should be a man about it. And no DCFS. It was common back then. I was lucky that they wouldn't have, pulled a strap out on me, but it was when they were more concerned about, me getting well. And then by the time I was around 10 or 11, and I was in, weak, but in better health, well, that was a different story. That would be, being beaten because of leaving a Tonka toy truck on the stairs or something like that. And any reason to hit me because I was, because my mom or dad, either one of them had a bad day. Different these days, of course. You know, I keep saying that, but back then, and it's my, weird little guilt. Again, there it is. Come on, camera. Have that be an edit, but there it is right there. And there you have it, Kara. My story about about my childhood. Yours was different, I'm sure. And certainly, if anything similar had happened to you, thank God it didn't. I have no doubt that there would have been an investigation into your family, the family history, that is. I myself sometimes wonder what the hell our parents got away with. Stuff I can't remember what might have happened. To me, I was hit more than my Aunt Seal's kids or my Aunt Dorothy's kids across the street. I think my folks just don't like the fact that they ended up with a first kid that was crippled. And, once they found out what I had, maybe that changed a little bit. But, now you can look it up on Wikipedia. 1 in 10,000 births, cerebral palsy. Everybody gets it. Shit. Think about it. 1 in 10,000. That's farm town, Mendota, Illinois, something like that. One kid in Mendota is going to have cerebral palsy. But there I was, laying in the back room, nobody supervising me at all, with a boiling pot of water inches from the bed. That sticks with me. And it was easily 1963. My sister hadn't been born yet. My dad became a member of the police force in 62, March of 62. So it could have been late 62, I don't know, but that's not really the point. The point of it is that I just can't believe there was a time where mothers or fathers could get away with such things. The monologue is too long. Well, I was trying to get as much into it as I could. Tomorrow I'd probably do an abbreviated version of it. Of course, because my nieces would be, filming it. They don't need to know all this. But what I'd hoped to emote would have been that I would have been able to hold my arm out several times and keep going back to it. I remember seeing an Eraserhead where this one guy kept pounding on his arm just to show Henry that there was something wrong with his arm, and I would have made several actions like that. But let me go ahead and get this thing loaded up onto YouTube, and then I'll email you back, Emily, and tell you where to go look for it. You could maybe be there with your producer, and I'm in no way in the way of using the voice I would be using for the father in the upcoming film. This is just my regular voice late at night. Uh, I'll, you know, I'll let this speak for itself. If you think, there's some good of it, some bad of it, this is how I am on YouTube. It's like, and YouTube to me is like talking on a answering machine on a phone. I don't know when to shut up. So that's my story, though. Things were different back in 1962. Parents could get away with murder.